Okay, so we're gonna open it up to the audience. If you guys have any questions or comments, if you want to ask, one of the guests at the table any questions, something that you've heard, this is the time. So,
I got one question.
okay, let's use it because we want to pick it up on. Hold on, Charles. We want to use the mic so we can. It helps us with. I know you. I know, but it helps with our recording.
My first question, and maybe I'll say something later, I don't know. But I know Big Job, I know Josh, you guys have kids. The sibling rivalry or that next kid stepping into the shadow of the older sibling. Like right now I have a son who played football, basketball, track, and now his little brother is kind of stepping up into that. It's like, oh, wait a minute, you're not as good as your brother, but so it's one of those things. How do you manage that and continue to talk to your kids to push them to work if they want to be that good? It's one of those things that come up.
Yes. Thank you for asking that.
I wasn't that forceful with mine. It's like I took more so of like the role of like how my dad was. It's like I just let them go ahead and and just do what it was that they wanted to do, because like with my youngest son of the two boys, the COVID kind of like shifted him. You know what I'm saying? And I think they're like 9 years apart, maybe, or James and Trey like 9 years apart. So it was like it wasn't really no sibling rivalry right there. It was just like the oldest brother telling him like, dude, you too good to sit down, get up, But it wasn't no. What my boys have to do all the time is, oh, that's Draymond first cousin. Why you ain't doing this? Why? My one son is going through that right now. Oh, you too quiet. He a beast on the court, but first thing they say, oh, well, you too quiet. Well, Draymond too loud. He too quiet. I mean, what y'all want to do? It's like, yeah. So he just more so like pushed him, a little bit harder, but it wasn't. But everybody always say, oh, y'all Big Job kids, and why y'all ain't, and why y'all didn't, But I'll be the first one to say is because, first of all, they're boys. I'm a girl. They can't do what I did anyways. Two different everything. You know what I'm saying? So I just let mine be them. Yeah. They can't be me. They can't be Draymond. We just gonna be the best us we can be.
Yes.
That's it.
And I think you pointed out a good thing is that it's the outside people that have more of that, right? I mean, where they kind of influence that, because I had 3 boys. My oldest son just naturally picked up stuff. He just picked up stuff, right? And then I had my second son, my third son. He tried his hardest, right? He played, but he was not like them, right? But people wanted him to be them so bad, and then he dealt with that, feeling like he didn't measure up. So he spent his whole life, quite honestly, trying to catch up to them. Even when I'm telling them you don't have to, you can be who you are, do what you want. People outside, you want to walk boys, you got to do this. No, and then my youngest son, anybody know my youngest son, he's the furthest from sports, from physical labor, from anything. He wants to just sit there and be pretty, okay? And so people were trying to force him too, and it's like, that's just not his thing, right? He's not into that, but the outside voices were the ones that really caused him to have a lot of pressure with that. So did you want to answer that, Josh, that question that you asked?
Yeah, I'm still figuring it out. I've got a 9th grader and 11th grader, 2 daughters who are highly competitive, and I do agree. I think some of the outside influence is the challenge of what people tell them they should be like, and if the younger one has a better game than the older one, oh boy, So it's I guess just reminding them that you are you as a player, like that's you don't have to compare to each other. And then I just think our approach has been, and then I will say this, my wife competed. She was a college basketball player as well, and actually going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame here for
that's awesome.
This year for Carleton. So I got to give her a little shout out, But no, what we say to them is it's up to you. If you want to work at it, it's got to be your choice to work at it. If you want to work at it, we're here to help you.
Yeah.
I mean, there's but we're not going to force you to work at it. It's got to be you that chooses to do it, and that's the formula, and we're still figuring it out.
Yeah. Next question.
I had a statement, I guess, more so than the question, just because people have been speaking a couple times about how much athletes made in college, but they didn't speak about how that came to be. You know, for many years, there were athletes who filled the seats, who brought, you know, a fortune in revenue, sold jerseys, you know, all of that. They were expected to do tour-a-days, work study, tutoring, and work at Blockbuster if they wanted money, which wasn't fair. And I mean, usually when people make a change or something, it's rarely people find balance. So they're going to have to find that point because it's, you know, the pendulum swings both ways. But for a long time, you know, athletes, they were taken advantage of. You know, if you bring in $50 million to the school, why should you have to work at Blockbuster and, you know, do work study? It's not fair.
Yeah. I wish they would have started that a year earlier. My kids could have got something done. We have a question in the back. I'm just being silly. Oh.
All right, so thank you everybody for sharing your perspective on the whole topic. I want to come to my question a couple different ways. First of all, you know, we talked about pressure and as parents, you know, how we support our kids. And let's just face it, I have 2 children. I never had the goal for either one of them to go to the Olympics or be professional athletes. I mean, you know, if anything, you just support them to set goals and to accomplish those goals, right? Even though I might be the loudest parent on the field or on the sidelines, even though my daughter's a horseback rider, I still will cheer when I'm not supposed to. But and my son, he gets embarrassed because other parents that are tape recording, they can only hear my voice in the background. But anyway, so you want to show the support for them, but at the same time, you know, you want the best for them. You're not looking for them to be the professional athlete, but yet you want fairness in the sport, right? So I guess my question comes down to, you know, I think each of you were either coached or a coach, right? And what is your coaching style, right? It's hard for me to understand, you know, from the time that my kids played sports in elementary school, right? They start Saturday basketball in 4th grade, right? And then they make their way up. And as a parent, you think the only way that they're really going to learn the sport is that they get the chance to play, right? And we know it gets more competitive as they get into high school and in college, right? And then, you know, those players then will earn their stripes and who starts, who doesn't start, who's benched or whatever. But what do you think? Like, what is your approach, or how do you feel like you were coached? Because I will tell you, having a child who, you know, in 5th grade, right, who just wanted a chance to play, right, and would have to sit the bench. And as a parent, it's kind of frustrating, right? And then you tell your son or your daughter now when they're in high school, you show them why you deserve to play, right? So is that the wrong thing? Because then you're putting that pressure on them, but it's the pressure to like encourage them because you know they want to play, and if they have to prove themselves why they should play, you know, you're trying to coach them yourself. So it comes back to my question: what do you feel is the right way to coach or be coached, right? When do you allow kids just the opportunity to play, to then know how good of an athlete they are, to then earn the right to be the starter or not the starter?
All right, coaches. How is it? So the question, I mean, what I'm hearing you say, because you're talking from a parent's perspective, because nobody wants to see their kids on the bench, right? But you're saying, and correct me if I'm wrong, you're asking a question, you know, how is the best way to coach them to get them kind of to do better, but then also understand why they're on the bench, right?
It also comes back to the pressure that kids put on themselves, right? And do we as parents put that pressure on them when, like I said, I'm telling my kid, show them why you deserve to play, right? But is that undue pressure? You know, because like my son will spend all summer long in the gym, in the weight room, or whatever, and then, you know, he comes around and he's like, look how strong my muscles are. But then, you know, right? But then he doesn't get the, you know, he's earned his stripes, right? Now he is, but it took time. And as, you know, in elementary school, when I think about the times he didn't get to play, I'm like, well, what did that teach him, right? He didn't.
Well, did he work harder and he finally is playing now, right?
Right, but I'm just,
Okay.
yes, but once again, I'm the one that told him, you work hard and prove to them why you get to play. And it just so happened that a player got hurt, so then he got to play both offense and defense, and they're like, oh yeah, you can really play. Well, why did it take somebody to get hurt? Why didn't he get just as much time to show how much he could play.
All right, coaches, chime in. People, let's go. I have my thoughts, but I'm not a coach, so I want you guys to talk. 'Cause that's a good question. I think a lot of parents ask that question. Yep, Annette.
Ooh.
Go on in there. Go on.
Well, I'm gonna use my teammates for example. Okay, I had a group of girls that when we were at Saginaw High, people came to see them play before they would the boys, just because those girls were good. Now, mind you, every girl on that team practiced, worked out, they did everything equally. So it was no like, oh, she didn't come to practice, she didn't. You know what I'm saying? Everybody wanted to play, but I don't know. It's just sometimes, no matter how hard you work, no matter how nice you are or how, when you get in, but everybody should take on a role, okay? Just say like, I'm gonna just say her name, like my point guard, Kayette Jones. I never seen anybody dribble the ball, get to the basket as easy as Kayette did until I saw like Aaron Reed. But then I had a guard that was right there that worked as hard as Kayette. Just wasn't better than her. She just wasn't as good. So what we always tell them is, I need my first five to get out there, and your sisters are on the bench. They've worked just as hard as you. Get out there and get an ample lead so I can put them in. Then that way it was like we play the first quarter, they play the second quarter, we play the third quarter. You know what I'm saying? But it's hard to tell a kid that is working really, really hard that you gotta wait. Yeah, but it's always, like I said, it's always somebody a little bit better. It's always somebody better.
And that's hard. That's hard for a
That
parent
is
to
hard.
hear. That's hard for a
It is
parent.
hard.
Yeah, go ahead and answer.
But
yeah.
I think Annette said something really key. Is find your role. Like some things is out of your control. But if your kid plays defense really well, he shouldn't be trying to score. He should be the very best defensive player out there. Or if he can shoot, he should be the very best shooter out there. Or if he can hustle, he can show that. And I have a firsthand experience with that because my career ultimately led through football. But I did play basketball at high school at the varsity level. And I didn't start. I had a lot of great players in front of me. But I know for sure that when my coach would put me in a game, it was strictly to play defense. It's to guard their best player because that's what I did. So I would just tell him to find his niche.
I like that. That's important. Love that. Because some people try to be everything, and you can't be everything, right? And sometimes, they do have to continue to work, right? I think that what you're pointing out, and it's not anything towards them personally, but that's what I told my boys, that it's always going to be somebody better than you, and you have to fight to be able to earn where you are, So anybody else want to add to that?
Let me just shift my question just a little bit. So I'm really honing in like at the younger ages, right?
Yeah.
Like at the younger age, how does a young person learn the sport if not given the chance? Because I saw it all in elementary school where there were too many kids that never got on the court. Right?
Unfortunately, they probably have coaches like me that want to win, right? And I'm just being honest. It's the truth. It's the truth. No, I'm being totally honest with you. I think, and y'all correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe like my kids, when they were younger, I wanted them to learn life lessons, right? So I didn't try to coddle them when they were, not saying you're doing that, but, try to kind of mask things for them when they were younger. I want them to understand life. Right. And you're not always going to be chosen. You're not always going to be picked. So you have to figure out how to navigate through those emotions. And I'm going to tell you something. You may not see it now, but that will grow him in such a beautiful way, because you have to learn how to get rejection, take rejection and not be chosen, and then still fight to get to where you want to. And that's a life lesson. And so I think that even at that age, they need to learn that. And of course, yes, I think everybody should get a chance to play.
Elementary,
Yes. But y'all know some coaches out there, they will not put in little Johnny. Little Johnny is not going to play if he is not. Y'all know that. So go ahead. Josh, did you want to add something? I'm sorry.
Well, I'll just say there's levels to sport, and I think we do make mistakes at young ages about what, how much someone should play or shouldn't play. I will tell you that I have made that mistake as a coach before, where I did not play a fifth grade kid at the level that should have been, and it kind of almost haunts me to the day. He's playing college basketball now, but I remember that vividly.
But tell us why. I want to know, because I think, do you mind if I ask that? Like, why didn't you play them? Was it because
I wanted to win.
Yeah,
And his dad was my assistant coach.
He's not winning.
You know, and I thought, I'm fifth grade, I won this game, and I'm looking at him, and the kid deserved to play, and he didn't play, and who am I? That's
Yeah.
kind of how I felt. So I think there's levels to it, right? The other thing, too, that I would say to what Renee asked is, and I'm going to build upon what Ron said about controlling, like what you can control. The biggest mental game issue for athletes is knowing the difference of what they can control and what they can't control, right? And that is, most athletes think they can control their playing time, but they can't.
That
They're
is a
not
good point.
making that decision. All that they can control is being in the moment, process goals that's going to help them, playing defense, embracing their role. That's all they can do. And then as parents, what do? We emphasize the outcomes, the stats. You need to do this, that are out of the kid's control, and then when they don't do it, they struggle. I mean, it's the number one. It's a number one challenge for even professional athletes.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, so.
Renee, I appreciate your question, because that's a real thing. I think a lot of parents ask that question. Oh, yeah. Yeah, and well, let's let this lady. She had her hand up right here next to Marlene. You had your hand up. Do you remember what you was? That's okay. She can just let her talk. Go ahead. Just let her talk.
When did sports become to the point where it's all about going to college and making millions of dollars? I mean, I was, played sports and I was good enough, but you know what? I just like being able to do, of course I was a woman, I was never going to be on anything, so that time, I'm old enough that women just weren't going anywhere in sports, except maybe in college to play field hockey. I don't know, but I was good enough. I was athletic. I'm a physical person, and I'm also I'm a dancer, and I'm just, that's my life, is being a physical person. And I'm now having to deal with, I just had a hip replacement, so I have to deal now with the fact that my body's falling apart, and I'm not going to be able to do the yoga I did and the dancing, performing. So I have to think of another way to do it. It's like, and I was never going to, I'm the person I am. I was never going to become a lawyer, okay? I was never going to be plus I was a mother, so that took up a lot of time too. I'm also like, when can it be fun? When can anything be fun just to be what it is? I mean, where are those games? Do they have intramural? I mean,
I'll just
You
say
guys
we
can
always
answer that.
we always tell our son, if it stops being fun, you're done.
Yeah.
When we ask him all the time, is it still fun? Are you still having fun? And we let him guide us, but you can kind of tell too, right? As a parent. But our goal is kind of what his goal is. That was never my goal. I never even thought about college. When I was coming up in the world in high school, I knew nothing about being recruited. I remember being asked, hey, we got scouts coming to this game. Like, I didn't know anything about that. I learned how to play volleyball in my gym class. I didn't do AAU and all that stuff. So yeah, it was just unique, right? It's a different time now. It's a very different time. So I think just being real, I don't know, what 2% go on for college, 1% maybe go on to pro. It's very minimal number. So just being, I think these guys have given a great example. I'm not a coach, but I was coached. But
well, I guess all my life I've heard how important sports are to, a person to learn how to work with others on a team, and like there's nothing else to do.
I wouldn't be
to
who
learn
I am
those
without
things?
sports. I would not be who I am today without sports in my life when I was
but
younger.
for you, but I mean, there are lots of other things to do the same things, but there's so much emphasis on sports, more so than lots of other things. Like arts.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Does anybody want to comment to that? Oh, hold on real quick. You want to add to that?
Both of them have made points, and I kind of have a different outlook on stuff.
Okay, let them comment to her, and then go. Yep, if you got a comment.
Yeah, I think when we're talking kids, I mean it should always be fun, and I can't remember her name down there. I'm sorry. Dallas. Like Dallas said, if it stops being fun, then that may be the time to find something different to do. But I think whatever your passion is, whether it be arts, whether it be drama. If you have a kid that's their passion, they definitely can find ways or life skills in those different areas of activities, for sure. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. Can it be fun and we still win? Can we do that both? No, I'm just joking, y'all. I'm joking.
No, you're not.
My grandbaby have fun losing.
No, I'm joking. Yes.
She don't care.
A lot of kids never did sports because their coaches were so mean.
Oh, sure.
They just made them hate everything.
No, and I think that's a good point because I mean, you can come across some not so good coaches. I mean, like I said, when my oldest son went to Delta, I was concerned. I mean, anybody is. I mean, he didn't have to go far. Of course, we don't live far from there, but he was going and being kind of directed by someone that I didn't know this person. He showed up at a high school basketball game. I'm like, who is this person with a little crew? And I'm like, who is this guy? And, he talks to my son, and I mean, he addressed me too, of course, but, there is some nervousness in that, right? And you don't know what type of person this will be, impacting your child on a daily basis for the most part, in some really intimate ways. And we were really blessed to have Carlos as a coach because I think that he looked at it from a very holistic way as opposed to just I want you to win. I mean, he did stuff. Matter of fact, I'll tell you this, my son, I don't think he liked Carlos for maybe 2 years. And then it took him it took him some time because Carlos was very real with him, really strong with him, and kind of addressed some things that nobody had probably ever addressed with him. So, I mean, I appreciate that, and I think that there is a balance, but you do need people in your life that will kind of help you understand things outside of the sports, and I think that some coaches are good at that and some aren't.
Well,
So,
I think that's great because to have that kind of experience with somebody who's concerned about you and is teaching you stuff, I mean, that's the greatest part.
oh, sure. I think most of the kids could say that about that experience they had there, so that was appreciated. Go ahead, Nicole.
So my take is a little different. I played sports, but I didn't do it competitively. I was asked to join the team, and I preferred not to. But what I loved most about sports still to this day is the teamwork, but what it teaches you. And you guys kind of touched on that a little bit, but it's so much deeper than contracts and competition and being a star player. It's the team. I've been known to go to a Spirits game, and yes, I should want to root for the Spirits, but if the other team's playing better, I'm rooting for them. I'm like, yeah, that was a really good play. You guys worked well together, yes. And that is totally where I'm at in the sport. So I think I do agree with what she said, that in elementary and stuff, our focus shouldn't, not even as parents, really be competition. Let that happen when they get older towards puberty. But it should teach them how to work well with each other and work in a team and want to boost each other up more so than I'm the best, because it's so healthy. It teaches them discipline. It teaches them how to be on time for things, to show up, and that they can achieve things that they didn't think they could. That's why it would be great not to bench everybody, because you really don't know what somebody can do until you put them on the heat a little bit and go, hey, this is your moment, let's go, and be proud of them. Because kids really, more than anything, and I'm saying all the way up to college, they want to impress their parents, they want to impress their coach. The coach dynamic, having a good coach and having somebody that you're making proud, they don't feel so bad because they missed the shot and everybody doesn't think they're cool. They've let their coach and their team down, and they take it personal because it's so important to be a part of the team, and it's so important for the approval of the coach. Sometimes the coach is the only person in their life that they can rely on, and the team is the only thing that they have that's solid.
So let me ask you guys a question, and we'll what age do you think is the right age to start teaching them about losing, right, or not being? I mean, seriously, when do you teach them that? How do you teach them? Because what I always told my kids was that losing is just as important, like how you lose. And if you don't know how to lose, if you never know how to lose or take disappointment, that's not balanced and that's not good. You have to. So what age do we start letting them know that you may not always be? Go ahead, Josh, please.
Well, the research shows that kids don't process winning and losing until they're 6 or 7 years old.
Oh, that's
and
a good age. I'll take that.
they only associate winning with their parents' reaction or their coach's reaction. So if they don't comprehend what a 4-2 soccer victory is. They want to see their parents celebrate them if they do whatever.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, but it is hard when, my daughter was 6 years old playing soccer, doing grass angels in the corner.
That was my second
Like,
son. Yes.
do you really celebrate
Like,
that?
man, if you don't get up,
like,
if you don't get up.
like, really? Anyway,
out in the field, like what's going on?
what are you doing?
I know. Yes,
So
please.
I would say, or as a parent, or anyone, so even as a coach, I say the moment that you realize or you see that player or your daughter or son walk off the field after a loss and they got their head down, because they may not do it at that young age, but they could play 2, 3, 4, 5 years before that actually happens. But when you see that moment, I think that's the time to have that conversation. It could come at a very young age. It could come at a later age.
No, I appreciate that.
And then there's me. I am a parent of one child, a girl, from a non-sporting family. I have 4 other siblings. Nobody played sports. One of the questions that I have is, what happened to athletes going into college, through high school and into college, getting an education other than being the top athlete of the best winning team maybe in the world? And you have brought up so many points. This has been so interesting to me. You especially. You talked about being an athlete, and you got out and you said, well, I'm going to do law, or I'm going to do. There was something there in your background that got you to a career that's not totally dependent on sports and or money and or prestige, or that kind of stuff drives me nuts. I appreciate you folks here. This has been an education for me. Thank you.
Oh, no, thank you. Thank you. We will take another question. Okay. Oh, no, we're going to let Marla go first, and then we'll go to Kyle. Yeah.
I just think it's really important you guys are bringing up the whole teaching the kids that it's okay to lose. Yeah. That is extremely important. That is, my son is a professional ice skater, and one of the things that U.S. Figure Skating does is they talk to the parents, not just the children, but they talk to the parents as well. And they try to let them understand that you're not always going to be up here. You're not. You have to let these kids understand how to deal with disappointment. Because in life, you're going to have disappointments. Yep. And if they can learn how to do all of this in a sport, it's a life lesson that is extremely important. But also with the parents, it is extremely important, because one of the things that I don't think a lot of the parents understand, because I'm the same way. When my son's out there, I'm screaming and hooting and hollering and everything, and when they fall, you see everybody goes, oh, God, Yeah. They don't want to see that, because one of the things that parents don't understand is these kids are looking for those parents out in the audience. They know where they're at, and when they fall, they do spot the parent. And keeping that positive attitude and just letting it go, and telling them, you know what, it's okay, you'll do good next time. It's so important, and I think sports are extremely important for kids these days, because it teaches them discipline. It teaches them how to handle emotional situations, and there's so many lessons to be learned through. Yes, if it's done right, yeah. But I think the coaches need to help explain to the kids how important it is to lose as well as it is to win.
Sure, yeah.
One of my kids' coaches, just recently, he had a good quote that I heard. We went to a tournament for 7v7 football, and he said, what did he say? We don't lose, we learn.
Yes.
And I thought that was profound. I've never heard that before, and I loved it. And I thought that was so true. So that just made me think of that.
I would say too, also, like along the lines of like we are what we reward, right? And so what I mean by that is like even if someone falls down in the competition, our reaction can dictate their reaction to that situation. And not just for coaches, but then also what we talk about their surrounding, their inside group, right, or whatever, right, your family, friends. Like how do we, whatever reward we give to them, we got to understand that that triggers something for them. No matter if it's on the playing surface or off the playing surface. So, you know, even when it comes to coaches, if we want to be great at, let's say, shooting free throws, right? How do I reward a guy for making free throws depends on how successful we can actually be. If I reward them with something positive or give them accountability, at the same time, we're still acknowledging something, right? And sometimes we kind of miss those opportunities to have those conversations because we refuse to acknowledge some of those things that could be positive or negative, and then we think everything's supposed to be great, right? Understanding the value of no goes a long way. Just being able to tell a young man, young girl no helps them grow more than you actually know.
Awesome. We'll have one more question.
Well, first off, I just want to say thank you, and I admire your guys' courage for being up here. The courage to be able to evolve your identity as an athlete, which many of you mentioned can be hard to pivot from, and to take that into your next or into the next phase of your life, whether that's an educator, a coach, or a parent, to help our next generation use sports as a powerful platform that it is to be a complete holistic being, teaching them about mental health, about education, about business. So I just want to first off say I admire your courage and how you have transformed your identity to in turn impact and grow our next generation through this powerful platform of sports. Now my question, and I'm very curious on your take on this. All of you guys have used the lessons that you have learned from sports to either teach our next generation or to help yourselves in other aspects of your life. What do you guys think goes into making someone a superstar for the game of life, and how do you develop those athletic qualities, so to speak, in the larger game of life?
So as I mentioned earlier, I talked about sometimes you hear people say, trust the process, right? So whatever you're involved in, there's going to be different aspects of it where you're going to learn, you're going to have successes, you're going to have failures. All of those are steps along the way that you need to take in because you realize it. You don't realize it at the moment, but when you get up to an older age or you get to that upper echelon of your life, you'll look back and say, oh, I remember this time or I remember that time. So it's just a process along the way. I have shoes on there right now. I have a quote on it that says, seize the moment. So every moment in your life that you have an opportunity to enjoy and just really engulf yourself in it, you should do it.
Anybody else want to add to that, Josh?
Yeah, there's that was great, Ron. It's hard to follow that one up. Another one would be I tell athletes confidence is a superpower, right? Confidence is a skill. It's an ability that can be learned through sports. So when you just use the successes and the failures and overcoming the failures to build confidence. I mean, I think all of us as former athletes have built some of that confidence from those successes and failures. So I like to tell athletes confidence is a superpower.
Awesome. Anybody else want to add anything to that? Well, this is the end. Did you mean? No, I'm joking. So I'm silly sometimes, and no, I know. So and I joked a lot. I joked a lot tonight, and I am competitive, but I also understand the balance. And I mean, anybody knows me and my children, I love on them when they win or lose. It's okay. And so, but I do like to win. But anyway, I'm going to close tonight. I just want to thank our guests at the table. I truly appreciate you all's experience, insight, points of view. And because our experiences do shape us, right? And we need to use our experiences to help other people along the way. So I appreciate that you all give back and are able to help people in different avenues of their life and in your life as well. So I have some closing remarks. We talked about not just sports tonight, but it's about identity change and what it means to rebuild when something that once defined you no longer sort of fits, right? And so I'll leave you with some reflective questions to carry with you. Who are you when the title is gone? What parts of you have you neglected while chasing the spotlight or the win? How can we better support people, especially our young athletes, not just while they're playing, but when the cheering stops? Do we celebrate athletes for who they are or only for what they do? Have we created a culture where athletes feel safe talking about their struggles, or do we expect them to just push through and be strong? How do we honor the chapters we've closed while allowing ourselves to grow into something new? So keep those questions close to your hearts as we move forward. And let's remember, people are more than their performance. They are more than entertainment. I appreciate you all for being here in this space. I truly, truly appreciate all of you all for coming out tonight. I'm letting y'all out a little bit early so y'all can get home because it looks like it's about to storm, and I want you all to get home safely. So thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank y'all. You all get your cards? Okay.